in contemporary conversations. One of the things that we often find is lack of representation of African and African Americans in the presence of our food here in the continental US. I, growing up, had never visually seen, aside from maybe like one person on television, Miss Berta Mae Grosvenor on PBS that was cooking on TV. Like, I mean, think about growing up, like how many times did you see an African-American person cooking on television?
Right.
Yeah.
Very, very, very rarely was that.
And they were always cooking the same thing.
Yeah, and just the narrative of just all we know how to do is make fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And how that has been beaten into our nation over and over and over again. You associate Black folk with fried chicken, right? Vince, when you talked about you not knowing a whole lot about Juneteenth, number one, don't feel bad about that because that's your fault.
Right.
It's the media's fault for keeping it from you. Nobody ever thought it was important enough to kind of share that story with you. Therefore, you were in the closet, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That analogy in terms of taking a look at so many different stories that were unpacked by Satterfield. And, when I looked at him being the star of the show, unpacking so many stories that have been historically silenced, now Black folk with our food have now reached a state of a platform in which now we get to stand behind the megaphone, where historically we've always been historically silenced as this stuff has not been incredibly important for us. And so when you look at the dignity that he and his entire crew have been able to provide for us, Brian, when you said that's me, that was deep because I felt the exact same way because I had never seen myself in these type of establishments. The cinematography of how beautiful this was from a predominantly all Black cast was also very important as well. The scene in which Satterfield and Michael Twitty hold out their hands and talk about tasting, that was dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was dope.
Yeah.
It was dope because as Michael Twitty asked him, who taught you that? And it was somebody that was passed down. And Twitty's assertion was somebody had to do that to teach you the muscle memory in order to be able to learn how to taste from your hands, or for him, the back of your hand. For me, I was tasting the palm of my hand, never tasting on the back of the hand, which was something that was a little bit different. But I knew that you definitely don't put your mouth on that spoon.
Right.
That is something that's also very sacred as well, right? And so that scene in and of itself was so incredibly Black and beautiful at that moment that there was a certain degree of identification that I had with them that I think that if somebody who wasn't Black was editing this, might have cut that out.
Yeah.
Pick up on that. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's so incredibly important, I think, just not only for their own relationship on camera, but also from the larger part of the larger conversations of where I think High on the Hog really sort of took us. It was just so beautiful just to see us, the food, the history, and for us to be on an international stage and given the opportunity to tell our own stories was absolutely brilliant, beautiful, and flat out priceless.